Joseph's story is not a children's tale about colorful coats and distant famine. It is a technology, a spiritual economic operating system hidden in plain sight. When Genesis talks about 7 years of abundance and 7 years of famine, it is not just reporting history, it is revealing how divine intelligence moves through time, matter, and money to protect and position those who listen. If you've ever felt that money is unstable, that economies are shaky, or that your financial life swings between feast and famine, stay with me. Joseph's 7-year plan is not just about Egypt's survival. It is a quantum blueprint for your own abundance right now. And before we go deeper, if your spirit already senses there is more to wealth than hustle and fear, gently tap like, subscribe, and stay until the end. Then, in the comments, share what part of Joseph's journey reflects something in your own life. I want this to be a conversation, not a sermon. Let's start with the moment everything shifts. Pharaoh dreams of 7 fat cows consumed by 7 thin ones. No one can interpret it until Joseph is brought from the prison to the palace. He listens, he discerns, and he decodes. 7 years of great abundance, followed by 7 years of severe famine, so harsh that the good years will be forgotten. Yet Joseph doesn't stop at interpretation. He immediately proposes a plan. Appoint overseers, save 1/5 of the harvest during the good years, store grain in cities, and prepare for what is coming. The text says that during the 7 years of plenty, Joseph gathered food and stored it in the cities, laying up grain in great abundance until he stopped keeping count, because it was beyond measure. That shift from information to structure is the first key. Most people receive insight, then wait. Joseph received insight and built. This is the difference between spiritual entertainment and spiritual transformation. In quantum language, Pharaoh's dream revealed a probability field, a future that could lead to collapse or to unimaginable influence. Joseph's response collapsed one timeline and activated another. He didn't pray, "Lord, don't let famine come." He aligned with reality and created a structure that turned a global famine into a platform of dominion. Think of your own life for a moment. How many times have you felt a nudge, an idea, a prompting? Start that project, learn that skill, open that channel, save that money. But you waited because the crisis had not arrived yet. Joseph shows us that by the time famine is visible, preparation is invisible. The quantum field responds to the energy of readiness, not panic. Famine reveals what you did with your years of plenty. In quantum physics, there is a strange truth. Particles exist in a state of pure potential until observed. The act of observation collapses possibilities into one manifested reality. Spiritually, faith is that observer. Joseph observed the famine from the vantage point of faith and wisdom, and through his choices, he collapsed a reality where Egypt and the surrounding nations had food when everyone else was collapsing. When the famine actually arrived, the text says there was famine in all the other lands, but in Egypt there was food. People from all the world came to Egypt to buy grain. Think about that. While everyone else experienced loss, Egypt became the hub of supply. That is what quantum Bible wealth looks like. You do not escape global systems. You step into a different relationship with them. You stop being carried by cycles and start co-creating with them. Now imagine your life divided into your own 7 years. It doesn't have to be literal years. It could be seasons. There will always be times of overflow and times of constraint. Joseph teaches us that the question is never, will there be famine? The question is, who will be ready when it comes? Quantum faith doesn't deny cycles. It anticipates them and uses them. So how do we translate this into a modern blueprint? First, Joseph honored information. He didn't treat Pharaoh's dream as random. Your life is full of dreams, ideas in the shower, sudden clarity about your spending, a conviction to get out of debt, a pull to create a digital product, launch a business, or build an emergency fund. Most people brush those signals aside. Joseph treated insight as instruction. Quantum wealth begins there. The belief that insight from God and inner knowing are not optional. They are operational orders. Second, Joseph honored structure. He didn't just say, God will provide. He laid out a concrete policy, Save 20% of the harvest during the good years, systematize it, and centralize it. That is so practical and yet so spiritual. The text describes him gathering grain like the sand of the sea, until he stopped measuring because it became immeasurable. That's a picture of what happens when your spiritual life and your systems marry each other. Prayer without structure burns out. Structure without prayer dries out. The Joseph Code is both. In your context, that might look like this. During fat cow seasons, when clients are flowing, when sales are up, when creative doors open, you don't expand your lifestyle in proportion to your income. You expand your storehouses, savings accounts, investments, assets, knowledge. You prepare content, build automation, grow email lists, create products that continue to feed you in leaner times. That is not fear, that is prophetic wisdom. Third, Joseph honored cycles. The Bible's use of the number 7 is not random. 7 represents completion, wholeness, divine order. Creation unfolds in 6 days and culminates in a 7th day of rest. Israel's calendar is full of 7 7-day feasts, 7-year cycles, even a jubilee after 7 cycles of 7. Time in the Bible is rhythmic, not chaotic. When God reveals 7 years of abundance and 7 years of famine, He is not being cruel. He is unveiling a rhythm. There are times when the earth gives more easily and times when it yields less. The wise don't fight the rhythm, they dance with it. If you could look at your bank account, your business, your habits through that lens, what would you see? Are you trying to live as if your current season will last forever, or are you acknowledging that every season contains the seed of the next? Quantum wealth scripture teaches that everything reproduces after its kind. Abundance that is not stewarded becomes an invitation for famine. Famine that is met with wisdom becomes an incubator for new authority. Let's go even deeper into the quantum dimension of this story. In faith and quantum physics, we often hear about the observer effect, the idea that what we pay attention to shapes what appears. When Joseph stepped into Pharaoh's court, the entire nation was paying attention to fear. The dream had disturbed the king. Uncertainty dominated the atmosphere. Joseph shifted the observation point from fear to strategy. He didn't say, "We are doomed." He said, "Here is what we will do." This is where law of attraction Bible style shows up. The point is not that Joseph attracted grain by positive thinking. The point is that his alignment with divine insight gave him access to strategies that others could not see. Those strategies defined the actions that changed material reality. That is Christian quantum manifestation. Faith that listens, receives instruction, and then moves in such a way that heaven's pattern becomes earth's outcome. Your financial breakthrough is not floating somewhere out there, waiting to drop on you. It is encoded in a pattern. What you focus on, what you build, and how you respond to cycles. If you constantly observe lack, rehearse fear, and speak famine, you will unconsciously make decisions that reinforce that timeline. If you choose to observe possibility, divine guidance and provision, and then act as if that guidance is true, you shift which version of your future gets solid. This is why I always encourage you to not just listen but to write. When you write your visions, your money intentions, your stewardship plans, you are literally fixing your observation. You are telling your nervous system and your spirit, this is the reality we choose to agree with. If you feel called to go deeper into that practice, I've created something for you, the Quantum Wealth Scripture Journal. It's a 30-day journey where each day combines a carefully chosen scripture with a quantum wealth activation and a practical money move. It's designed to help you store grain, spiritually and financially, verse by verse, action by action. You'll find the link in the description and in the first comment, so you can begin that journey if it resonates with you. Let's return to Joseph standing in the middle of the famine. Scripture tells us that when the famine spread over the land, Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold grain to the Egyptians, and people from other countries came to buy as well. Notice that phrase, he opened the storehouses. Quantumly, this is the distribution phase. First is revelation, then preparation, then preservation, and finally distribution. Many of you are faithful in the first 3 in small ways, but you hesitate in the 4th. You save, you plan, but you're afraid to step into the role of distributor, of being the person others come to for solutions, products, or leadership. The Joseph prototype is bigger than personal security. His plan made him a gatekeeper. People had to come to him. In modern terms, God is inviting some of you to move from consumer to custodian of ideas, of resources, of platforms. The famine, whatever form it takes, economic downturn, recessions, digital shifts, job changes, becomes the backdrop where your storehouses are revealed. This is quantum wealth, not just as I have money, but I carry solutions. Quantum, not just as I carry solutions. Vivere sufe. So practically, what is your grain? Maybe it is content you could be batching right now in your years of creative abundance, so that when life gets intense, your message still flows. Maybe it's financial reserves, automated investments, or building digital assets that can be sold during lean months. Maybe it's deepening a skill that will be in demand when the market shifts. Ask yourself, if famine came to my industry, my nation, my niche, what would people need, and how can I quietly store that value now? And then there is a deeper layer, inner famine. Many people live with spiritual famine, no vision, no clarity, no sense of purpose. Joseph's plan is also an inner model. During your 7 fat years of spiritual passion, when you feel close to God, inspired, motivated, that is when you memorize truth, cultivate habits, build prayer routines, strengthen your identity. Because there will be seasons when you feel nothing, when prayer seems dry, when circumstances shake you. In those seasons, your storehouses of scripture, memory, and previous encounters feed you. You are not scrambling to find God. You are eating from what was stored. Quantum Bible wealth is not just about bank accounts. It's about consciousness. When famine hits the world, heaven's economy is still abundant. The question is whether your inner storehouses are built enough to translate that abundance into your reality. For those of you who have chosen to support this channel through membership, I am genuinely humbled. Your presence feels like a circle of pillars around this work. If you ever feel led to support in that way, know that it's not just a transaction, it's a spiritual partnership. Members also receive early access to upcoming videos, so you can sit with these revelations before the wider audience. Whether you join or simply watch, I honor you for walking this path. As we come toward the end of this journey, feel this. Joseph's story is your invitation. You are not powerless in the face of economies, politics, or trends. You are not at the mercy of algorithms or employers. You are in covenant with a God who reveals patterns, who warns ahead of time, who still gives dreams about what is coming, and who honors those who combine faith and structure. So I want to leave you with a challenge and a question. The challenge: within the next 24 hours, take one Joseph-style action. Maybe you open a specific savings account and name it Storehouse. Maybe you map out the next 7 major moves for your financial life and assign each to a year or phase. Maybe you commit to a daily practice of mixing scripture with money strategy for the next 30 days. Don't just feel inspired, build a silo. And the question is this: where in your life are you still living like a prisoner, waiting to be called, when in truth you are already anointed to be a governor? Joseph went from prison to palace in a single day, but the palace version of Joseph was formed in years of hidden faithfulness. What habits, what mindset, what structures do you need to form now, in the hidden years, so that when your Pharaoh moment comes, you are ready? If this spoke to you, share this video with someone who is tired of spiritual cliches and ready for real transformation. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next activation. And in the comments, tell me, what is one storehouse you are committing to build in this next season? Remember, famine does not define you. Preparation does. Faith is not waiting for the storm to pass. It is building the ark while the sky is still clear. Walk as Joseph walked, seeing ahead, storing in wisdom, and standing as a channel of provision when the world is hungry. Your 7-year plan starts now.